what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing on the dollar. And the reason I do that is because the dollar makes up a very big part of the entire market. The entire market is solely focused around the dollar. The dollar is the global reserve currency. So you want to go ahead and keep that in mind. Everything trades against the dollar. If you're trading the pound, you're trading the pound against the dollar. If you're trading the euro, you're trading that against the dollar. So if you have a good foreground of what's happening with the dollar, that obviously puts you in a very good position to know where you should be standing on that trading session. So I'm going to be looking at the dollar, and something I do, and I want you to take note of this right now. Every single trading day, I trade in line with the prior trading day. Hands up, that's probably one of my biggest tips when creating a strategy, when looking at the strategy, because theoretically, if you're day trading, you want to try and catch a move for that day, for that session, and you want to be done. And for me personally, when I look at something like the dollar, if I look at it on the prior trading day, that then allows me to be in line with the dollar for a session or two, and I'm done. So looking at the dollar there, on the prior trading day, we've had this massive price action wise. We've had this nice little tweezer bottom, bullish engulfing on the prior day, which shows some buyers stepping in. We can clearly see that on the 2 hour over here. We've had this bullish rally yesterday. It's up to us now to then distinguish. Fine. If the dollar has been bullish, right? If the dollar has had this rally, is it going to continue? And one of the first things I always look at is the euro. Looking at the euro is a very clean opposite of the dollar. At least 70% of Euro USD is made up of the dollar. So if the dollar is bullish, the euro is going to be bearish. If the dollar is bearish, the euro is going to be bullish. So if we take a quick look at dollar on the daily, dollar's obviously had this nice little bullish reversal. We've had some unwind from Donald Trump himself announcing that he's going to be friendlier with China, which is quite interesting. But enough of the macro theme. Looking at the charts overall, obviously the fact that the dollar has had this bullish bounce, we can obviously look at euro and expect some sort of reversal. We've obviously had this sell-off this morning, creating fresh daily lows, but in my opinion, we're going to follow that through to the downside. So if you look at this over there, price obviously had this big level of previous resistance, right? We obviously broke back above this level. You can see that over here once the market traded back above. Many people would have very easily been looking for longs off of that level, but seeing as there's been a bit of a change in stance, we want to then put ourselves in a position to adapt. You want to adapt really quickly in these markets. So for myself, amidst the Trump administration, I am leaning more towards day trading because swing trading in these conditions is highly volatile and you need a lot of patience, which is something that I'm not sure if I'm going to have with the Trump administration. So looking at euro, I can already clearly see to myself that fine, the dollar is and has broken back above this level, very similar to that of what has happened to the euro. So a very clean intraday trade that I can see is short euro from current market price, placing your stops above this spike high. So max with a 50 pip stop there, guys. I wouldn't risk any more than that. And ultimately targeting this morning's low. It's roughly around a 1 to 2 there, risk reward. So that means if I go in with the initial 1,000 I had planned this morning, that means I'm looking for about a $2,000 gain should I breach this morning's low. So we're going to go ahead and actually enter that together. Because we have about $1,000 risk on 50 pips, we have to go in with a 2-lot trade. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place our first order there on the euro. That stops above the high, roughly about $1,000 risk there on the position. And again, we can go ahead and monitor that on TradingView for the time being. All I'm literally looking for is that low. So if we break this morning's low, that'll be perfect for me. I'll happily take the position to the low, trail the risk if I need to, and if there is an opportunity, I want to add to the trade. So I'm going to let this trade play out. I'll revisit it in a couple of hours. So I'll see you guys then. So you're roughly around 10 pips in profit there, guys. I thought it's a perfect time to make this segment of the video, which is your psychology during the session. We came to the market this morning well aware of what our risk would be. We were happy to risk $1,000, right? We came in with that before we looked at the market. Before we looked at the market, we were okay with that. Looking at it right now, most traders would start to add more. It's going a little bit in their favor. They feel, okay, maybe this is a winning trade. Maybe we should add. And that is the biggest mistake you can make, because this trade might stop us out. This might just be one of those trades where I actually lose, and that's okay. So some trading rules for yourself. Never add to a trade unless you're in a position to remove your initial risk, in my opinion. Right, that's my opinion. Meaning you can trail your risk, meaning move your stop loss past your entry, and the market runs in your favor, and you're in a position to add that risk back in, feel free. Great idea. But one of the biggest detriments along my journey, and I've seen this happen to a lot of other traders too, is adding to trades, thinking that this trade's perfect. Let me add some more because I'm gonna make more, without them realizing that they're overexposing themselves. And if price reverses, which most occasions it does in that case, then they burnt. They blow their accounts, they have to start over. It's not a good position to be in, so you shouldn't even put yourself in that position. So that's rule number one. Rule number two, don't adjust your stops. We came into this trade well and truly knowing what the risk would be. Why are we going to adjust the trade now and remove the risk? Until, for example, if price was to break these lows, so that would mean we're about 35, 40 pips in profit, then I wouldn't mind rolling my risk for the US session switch over, because that is roughly in around an hour. However, is there even any point of moving the risk right now? No, because I'm around 10 pips in profit. What's the point, right? So for this trade to logically make sense, risk reward wise, I have to hold it for the target. I have to wait for it to break, at the very least, this morning's low. So an intraday trade means I'm trying to catch it for that session. Done. See you later. We'll review later in that session. So those are some rules. I thought it would be a great time to share that with you now, but I'm going to ride this trade out. I'll review it in the afternoon with you. See you in the later part of the video. Right, guys, just a few hours later, we've had this beautiful follow through on the euro to the downside. We can actually see that dollar buying power come back in, as I mentioned this morning. So if you look at that on the daily time frame, what did we do? We capitalized on a prior bullish daily candlestick, and all we're looking to do on the next trading day, i.e. today, is jump on the back of that sentiment. And just as I'm recording this, we've had some comments from US President Donald Trump that he's going to be reducing on tariffs massively on China. And obviously we've seen this large unwind in the price of gold. We've seen gold down 1,000 pips today, right? So big rally in risk there. Crypto higher on the day there as well. So euro following through to the downside now. If we just go ahead and check MT4, roughly around 1,400 there, approaching our target of 2K. What I might actually do is trail the take profit while reducing my risk. So that means I'm reducing my initial entries risk, and that means I'm allowing the trade to run for a potential bigger target. But for now, the target is staying where it is at this morning's low. If I hover my cursor above there, you'll see we've gone in for 100 pips. Just ignore that, that's a decimal place that's missing there. So it's not 1,000 pips, it's 1,000 pipettes or points, and that is 100 pips. Risking on a 2-lot trade, so roughly around $20 there per pip, which that then means we risked 1,000 this morning for a $2,000 potential gain. But beautiful follow through there on the euro. I'll update you guys should the trade play out and hit TP. See you in a bit. Right, guys, just to wrap up the trading day there. Beautiful day on the euro. What was the plan this morning? We were planning to risk $1,000, looking for a move together, executed well according to plan. We obviously had this beautiful follow through there on the euro to the downside. If you just take a look at that on the dollar went on to create fresh daily highs. So if you remember earlier on in the video, I did speak about euro targeting this morning's low, and we're obviously approaching that there now. Floating around 1,500 there. We obviously risked 1,000, looking for 2,000 as a minimum. Anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000 was the goal. Obviously approaching our target there now, which is good. And again, looking for that overall rollover, and we can do this again tomorrow and the day thereafter and the day after that. The beauty about trading, if you do it correctly, there is a setup there all the time. Most important thing that you can do is simply follow your plan and stick to the rules. That is it, nothing more, nothing less. Guys, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a thumbs up, and check out the links in the description below. One of them will be to my free Telegram community. I'll be doing a full trade recap on there inside the group. So if you did enjoy this YouTube video and you want more information, go smash that button below. Go ahead and check out that free community, and I'll see you on the inside. Peace, guys. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.